What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Spotlight Productions, also known as Spotty Productions. Today we have a recap video of the Oklahoma Sooners game versus the Florida Atlantic Owls. So during the college football season, I will be doing recaps for the Oklahoma Sooners since they're my favorite team. And yeah, we're kind of I don't think the rosters for NCAA 14 are done yet, so we're kind of struggling content-wise. So I feel like this is the best thing to do for now. If my voice sounds pretty dull or just terrible in general, I think I have strep throat, so I'm sorry about that. But anyways, and I've got sunburn at the game as I went. To say the least, this game was I did not expect Oklahoma to play the way they did. On the defense side of the ball, I'm going to start on offense though. Kyler Murray's the real deal, to say the least. Kyler Murray absolutely killed it. He was 9 for 11, 209 yards with 2 touchdowns to go along with a awesome performance. He also had some rushing yards. That one run early in the game where he made 3 people miss. It was amazing. But I'm very pleased with his performance for his limited playing time. He got pulled midway through the second quarter. Or later, or just before halftime, he did very well. I think his throwing is maybe a little underrated right now. Just from this game, not saying that it may not be great down the stretch, but so far he looked very solid. Had a couple of big throws, one to Marquise Brown, which we'll get into his performance in just a minute. But man, he is the real deal. And I'm pretty confident that he's going to lead this team to at least a 10-win season. I mean, with this performance, we had freaking Octagonal pick FAU. He got oh my god, terrible pick for Octagonal. Sorry about that, Octbot, but that was necessary. And I know SEP and Gold Glover 9 picked Oklahoma as well, and I didn't have a prediction. I'll give my predictions for the UCLA game next week at the end of the video. But I was picking Oklahoma to start with anyways. Sorry. So Kyler Murray, I think, is the real deal. He went 9 for 11, 209 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of his touchdowns was an absolute bomb, like I said, to Marquise Brown. And then his other touchdown was another. Well, it wasn't necessarily a bomb, but it was a big throw to Lee Morris across the middle, and Lee Morris did it from there. I'll talk about his touchdown here in a minute, his only catch, but it was a big one. Now heading on to the running back performance, we're going to start off with Rodney Anderson, who only had 5 carries for 100 yards, and he averaging 20 yards carry. That won't last through the season, of course, but I mean, on 5 carries, that's ridiculous. And he also had 2 touchdowns, so great performance from Rodney Anderson. He had the first touchdown in the game, which was a 30-yarder, and the offensive line absolutely destroyed that blocking. I mean, they killed it the whole game. We'll talk about them in a minute as well. If I briefly mention another position, just know that we'll get there. Or position group, whatever you want to call it. And then you had Trey Sherman run for 69 yards on 9 carries, which was Devin Singletary's numbers on his 18 carries. We'll talk about him in a minute. But yeah, he averaged 7.7 in carry, and he also had a big touchdown. I think it was a 16-yarder. Maybe it was a 22 because it says on here along with 22. But very good run there from Trey Sherman. Absolutely killed it on that run and all of his other runs. He looks really solid. I think that he's like they were talking about last year and into this year. He's a really good closer as a running back. Trey Sherman, Rodney Anderson, I know could go the full game, but when you have 5 running backs that could start, it's going to be okay if you play 2 or 3 of them. I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world by any means. I missed out on Florida Atlantic's quarterback and rushing, so we'll talk about that real quick. Chris Robinson, the former OU quarterback that got kicked off for, I'm pretty sure it was drugs, but I probably forgot. He was 15 for 26, 157 yards and 6 yards average, no touchdowns, no interceptions. To say the least, he was not very impressive. His completions, he had a couple of nice throws. I mean, a couple of nice on the outside. But besides that, he missed at least 2 or 3 deep balls, which, I mean, they were terrible. I mean, he missed one bad in the end zone. He just couldn't throw it. He was still inaccurate. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a redshirt freshman or sophomore, whatever he is. he sucked it up today. He wasn't very good. To say the least, we'll see how they end up doing, but for right now, that was a crappy performance by him. So, and then you had the other quarterbacks. DeAndre Johnson played a little bit, only 3 throws. He completed 1 for 11 yards, and then Ray Perfect, I don't even want to pronounce the last name. 2 for 3, 24 yards, and an interception on his 8 yards average. Overall passing for FAU was absolutely terrible. They just weren't very good, and they didn't have their game plan ready to go versus a very solid OU defense, which we'll talk about in a minute. If these videos run longer, that's why, because I talk about everything. Okay. Rushing, Devin Singletary had 18 carries for 69 yards, averaging 3.8 carry and 1 touchdown. The OU defensive line absolutely killed him. I mean, he had a couple nice cuts, but he wasn't going it much farther than 5 yards, 4 yards. That was his average, basically. So he wasn't going very far, to say the least. I mean, he didn't do much. He was pretty unimpressive. I thought that he was one of the better running backs in the country, but he sucked it up. And he had a couple of decent runs. He had a 26-yarder, but to say the least, he was shut down most of the day. He did have a touchdown, but it was third quarter. The game was done by that time. And then DeAndre Johnson had 39 yards rushing. Good for him. And then Wyatt Jr. had a touchdown on his 3 carries for 15 yards, and Riley Wright had a jet sweep, I think, for 17 yards. I think he's a receiver. Yeah, he is. Okay. So, basically, to say the least, FAU's passing and rushing was pretty unimpressive for what most of us would have expected. We'll see if they rebound in their next game. Receiving for Oklahoma, Marquise Brown had 6 catches for 133 yards, averaging 22.2 yards per catch and a touchdown, the longest 65, which was a touchdown. He's really good. He's not just a deep threat. He can catch it on the sideline. He only had – you guys saw that one on the sideline. It was a fade kind of – well, not necessarily a fade, but it was just a go route with a little curve on it, which is basically a fade. But anyways, he went up for that one. He's, I think, only 5'11" or whatever. He went up and got that one. And then he had a couple nice out route catches, which he can do that. And then he had that deep bomb, which was a great throw. He's a good player. Very fast, and I'm expecting him to have another 1,000-yard season. He may be up for the Biletnikoff already, but we'll see on that one. Next is Lee Morris with his 1 catch for 65 yards and a touchdown. That play specifically, he just barely caught it, and then he had some moves on that one. He just turned it up and barely got into the end zone, but he did, and it was just a great play overall. Blocking was really good. CeeDee Lamb only had 2 catches for 43 yards, averaging 21.5 yards per catch and no touchdowns. We just have so much talent that not everybody's going to get involved, but usually everybody does, so he's okay. He'll be good. Michael Jones had 2 catches for 37 yards, A.D. Miller 2 for 18 and a touchdown. His first catch, he laid out the referee, which was absolutely hilarious, or the referee laid out him. It was bad. But and then his touchdown was nice, really good. Jalen Robinson, the redshirt freshman, had 2 catches for 17 yards. Drake Stoops, very excited about him. 2 catches for 16 yards, 8 yards a catch. Grant Calcaterra had 1 catch for 3 yards, and Nick Basquin 1 catch for 2 yards. Florida Atlantic's receiving, I'm not even going to go over it because just how bad it was. They had a couple people 4 catches here and there, and then 2, and then a lot of ones. Their receivers were okay, to say the least. They didn't have much quarterback help, which suffered a big time. Sorry, guys. Just make sure I don't miss it, Austin Seibert had a missed 53-yard field goal. There was no win, so that was his fault. And then OU had a big-time block punt, special teams touchdown. Kristen Bolden recovered it, and it was amazing. It was a great block by Nick Basquin, or Lee Morris, sorry. Just overall great play. Very proud of the team on that one. Special teams touchdowns are always fun, so that's awesome. All right, time to get on to the defense, which Pardell Montley's leading the team with tackles, 5 solos, 7 total. he is really good on those outside sweeps. I mean, he was tackling, and then you got all the other players in there getting big hits. I mean, there was the defense as a whole is going to be much better. I mean, there is so much talent now with Bradley Hills and Rodney Perkins. I mean, man, there is so much depth. Kenneth Mann played really well. Monty Bledsoe. Mark Jackson even getting in there finally. And, I mean, man, Caleb Kelly. There's too many names. Trey Brown had 6 tackles. He did really well, 2 for loss. Chris Bolden had 6 tackles, 3 solos, tackle for loss, and a touchdown on the special teams block punt. Caleb Kelly had 6 tackles, 3 solo, big hits. Radley Hills had 5 tackles for 2 solo. He had some huge hits. I mean, a couple that didn't even count, but they were huge. And he about got picked, but it was off his fingertips, so that's tough. But what are you going to do about it? And then down the line, we just have more people. Rodney Perkins is an absolute beast as a freshman. He's starting caliber. He's better than anybody else we've had in a long time. So very excited about him. Down the line, you have a lot of other players. Let's see, anything. Trey Norwood did really well on the outside as well. 1 sack from Mark Jackson, and then 1 from Neville Gallimore. I mean, we just didn't sack quarterback today. We'll be back. I know we will. So, but overall, very good from the defense. I'm very excited because they're definitely improved, and we'll see how they end up doing down the stretch versus better competition than FAU. UCLA next week. We'll talk about that here in a minute. This might be a 30-minute video, so thank you guys for sticking around if you're still here. Interceptions. Robert Barnes had 1, or FAU's defense. I mean, before I go on, FAU's defense was absolute garbage. They sucked. Their run defense was not even that good, to say the least. I mean, they couldn't do crap. They can't tackle. They can't cover. They suck. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be this bad, but FAU has problems, guys. It's not just because they went 11-3 last season doesn't mean it's going to carry over. Robert Barnes had an interception for 32 yards return. Very good play from him. And C.D. Lamb had quite a few punt returns. Lee Morris had a 20-yard punt return. And Cyber missed his field goal, but did have 8 extra points. And then Burdick had 1 extra point. Cyber had 2 punts for 76 yards, averaging 38. And then FAU's punter had 6 punts for 228 yards. One side 20, longer 50, average 38. So that was the main player stats. We'll go over the team stats real quick. OU was 6 for 10 on third down. Very good. Some of those were even late in the game. I mean, in 26 first downs, that's how you win ball games right there. FAU only had 20 first downs, 4 for 15 on third down, 1 for 3 on third down. Oklahoma had 650 yards of offense. Absolutely impressive. FAU only had 324, most of it late in the game. Let's see. Rushing, Oklahoma had 316 yards. And passing, they had 334. FAU had 192 yards passing, 132 yards rushing. Penalties. FAU had 648. Oklahoma 6 for 70. Time of possession. Oklahoma had 29-15. FAU 30-45. So overall, in that department, Oklahoma just killed this game. I mean, it wasn't even a competition. Attendance was 86,402. Would have expected maybe a little bit more, but still another sellout crowd, which that streak still continues to this day. To say the least, Oklahoma is a solid team. If OU's not in the top 5 in this next poll, I think that's absolutely ridiculous, to say the least. I mean, they were much more impressive than some of these teams. Clemson struggled early. Let's see here. I'm just looking at final scores real quick because I've kind of been busy, so I haven't checked on much of this since I just got back. UCLA and Cincinnati, only in the second quarter, UCLA only up 10-7. Well, you guys will know the result of that game by the time this video is out, which will be tomorrow. Wisconsin won, of course, and then Stanford. Michigan State held on. Mississippi and Texas Tech clutch shootout. Ohio State, I mean, their defense let up quite a few points there towards the end, but their offense is, man. Of course, you got Texas losing to a Maryland once again. Say at least Texas is not any good till they prove anything. Their yearly ranking 23 is pretty absurd, and I think they need to think about that before they do that once again. That was just embarrassing to say the least. Texas can't play defense like they once could, and maybe one day they'll be back, but not today. Clemson won 48-7, of course. Ohio barely beat Howard. Howard was up 17-3, but they finally got it done. How about Penn State going in overtime with Appalachian State? I'm telling you, they're going to miss Saquon Barkley big time. Georgia beats their SCS opponent. West Virginia won big over Tennessee. That was easy work. And then Washington drops Auburn. It was a really good game, 21-6. So I think OU definitely moves up into the top 5 after that one. Auburn played a good game. They're just a better team, barely. But in the end, they got it done, and that's all that matters for them. And then USC won 43-21, so they're looking to maybe struggle a little bit now without God, I can't even think of the quarterback's name. Sam Darnold. And then now we have there's the Sunday, Monday night games. So yeah, going into next week, I'm going to bring it up. 12 o'clock versus UCLA. Oklahoma has 87.8% chance to win this one. And to say the least, I think Oklahoma is going to easily take care of this game. The talent is just too much for all these teams. I mean, I wasn't expecting our defense to absolutely crush FAU. FAU has some talent. I mean, yeah, Chris Robinson was pretty bad, to say the least, but that doesn't mean that they're not just terrible. Singletary's pretty good running back. I mean, he didn't have much help today, but I would like to see how this game's going to go down. I think that's going to be a good one. I really think that Oklahoma's going to get it done in the end, but that doesn't mean that's going to be easy by any means. I don't think that's going to be necessarily close, but I don't think that's going to be necessarily easy either. I'm not expecting 60 points again, unless UCLA is just that bad. I have Oklahoma winning this game by a score of 38-14. The defense is just that good, guys. I mean, I'm just not confident without Josh Rosen there at quarterback. I mean, they don't UCLA doesn't have much to work with right now. And then Oklahoma's offense, I think UCLA is going to play much better defense, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to give up points. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 45 or even 52. But I don't think it's going to get much over 50, though, to say the least. It won't be over 50. I think that it's going to be probably around the range of anywhere in the 30s, probably. I don't see UCLA scoring more than 20 points, probably. I mean, unless the defense, it was just a one-time performance. But I think the defense is there. I think Kyler Murray's going to throw 3 touchdowns. Sherman's going to have 100 yards. Or Sherman will have a good game again, hopefully 100 yards. But Anderson will definitely have 100 yards. I think Boogie's going to make a big play. I don't know if it's going to be a pick 6 or a fumble recovery or a forced fumble, anything like that. But I think he's going to make a big play. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to come into the picture as a big-time number 1 receiver. Same with Hollywood Brown. I mean, Hollywood is the number 1 receiver, but CeeDee's definitely a great possession receiver. I mean, it's not necessarily even a possession receiver, but he's definitely the bigger frame. I think that OU will get this done. I don't think that's a question at this point. I mean, if it would have been close versus FAU, I could see it. I think OU may be shaking. The first quarter might be a 14-7 kind of game. But in the end, Oklahoma's going to win this game 38-14. Final score, covered the spread. UCLA might go down tonight, so you guys will know if they go down. The spread will probably be huge if they go down. This game's on Fox on September 8th at 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 Mountain, and then 10 Eastern or 10 Western Pacific. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and please subscribe. Turn on the notification bell if you guys enjoyed it, because I did enjoy making this. As of for the NCAA 14 franchise or Dynasty, and Madden 19 franchise, still working that out. Still gotta get my hands on Madden 19. I'm sure the rosters aren't done yet. If they were done, I would have it ready by now, but they're not. So yeah, if you guys are excited, just leave a comment and just help the channel out and just subscribe and turn on notifications and leave a comment. Just show your love and support, guys. That's all that matters. Anyways, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again. I'll be back. It might be another recap next time you guys see me, but I'm going to try to post weekly for sure. These kind of videos are a little bit easier to edit than the other ones, for sure. I just want to say you guys are the best fans for supporting me, and yeah, please go subscribe to All Team franchise. They're great corporation, I guess you could even say. With all that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Spotlight Productions out.